if this is what the Vikings used to drink, then it's good enough for Vikings. It's good enough for me. So. Hey guys, welcome back to another tasting and review on McIntyre's malts. Now today we are going to taste a whiskey that is very well known, and it's one that comes from Orkney, and most of you probably already know what that is once I say that. So today we are going to be tasting and reviewing the Highland Park 12, very much a renowned distillery for all their Viking insignia, right? So let's have a look at this. Highland Park 12. This one is known as Viking Honor. So you can see in the glass there's all the insignia, and it's a really nice little marketing touch, right? It's definitely in a realm of its own, right? So on the box, it talks of Viking honor is the heart and soul of Highland Park. It reflects the unique culture of our remote island home on Orkney. A part of Scotland, yes, but originally belonging to a vast Viking kingdom, we'd like to share our story with you. Made with pride on Orkney. I'm not sure if you guys can see that on the camera. Very cool. On this side, I'll share this with you guys too. So it says, I am a reflection of my ancestors and their values. I keep them close and continue to learn to pass on those values to future generations. My name is all I truly have. Let it be a legacy of honor. Yeah. Today we're going to jump into the Highland Park 12 and see what I can detect on my nose and my palate, and share along with you guys. If you're drinking this at home, pour yourself a dram and let's do it together. Okay. The tasting notes on the back of the bottle say natural color, heather honey, sweetness, rich fruit cake, aromatic smoky peat. So looks like this is natural color, but no mention of non-chill filtered, and bottled at 40% ABV. So right on that threshold. Any lower and it can't legally be classed as whiskey. All right, let's get some in the glass. It's a lovely color, right? Nice, beautiful sort of dark straw crossed with honey type sort of color. Okay, let's try on the nose and see what we can find. Heft. There's it's a gorgeous, rich honey note. Like imagine that thick, deep sort of brown honey. Very much, on a cold morning when you're trying to scoop the honey out of the jar, and it's so thick and it can barely you can barely get it out on a cold morning. It has a really prominent honey note like that. I'm getting a really rich orange citrus note, very juicy. Driven by the honey and the orange, but also elements of the maltiness coming through. Very small, fine hint of the smokiness, the peatiness. Doesn't have that earthy, peaty type note like a Lafroig or an Ardbeg. It's more smoke, but it's very subdued. Someone who's very well experienced with smoky, peaty whiskies, like for myself, I don't consider this smoky. Lots of people talk of it as potentially a gateway whiskey into the more smoky, more peaty. I very much can see it as that. It's a nice transition whiskey into more hefty, but for me personally, little to no smoke, very, very fine. It's almost just remnants of that smokiness, an hour after a campfire has been extinguished. The Highland Park 12 is the entry level expression of the core lineup, and a fantastic place to begin. If you're just starting your whiskey journey, you'll be extremely impressed with this whiskey. It's very much a ticks all boxes, right? It satisfies. It should satisfy a lot of different drinkers. It's got a nice. It's not one dimensional. There's a few different elements going on. It's not too complex that you can't pull it apart. The scents are easy to detect. It's a really nice place if you're new to your whiskey journey to begin, right? A great starting point. Now, as you can tell from my bottle, I've enjoyed at least half of it already, and I won't lie to you. When I started with this, I was drinking quite a lot of cask strength whiskey. So my initial impression when I tried this was that it was way too watery for my liking. But give it some time, and I stepped away from the bottle and came back to it, let it develop a little bit and take some time with it. And even for such a low ABV, it's really enjoyable. As I say, as that gateway into other whiskeys, it's a really great core offering, and I understand why it's highly regarded. Right, it's very easily accessible. It's in Australia, you can typically pick it up. It's not too hard to find. You'll get it in the range of $90 to $100 Australian, so it's accessible, right? So with all that background now, let's get into the palate and see if we're getting the same flavors that are coming across on the nose. It's just a good whiskey, right? Not earth-shattering or blow your mind, but it's not intended to be, right? It's a really solid, stable, not too overpowering. You're getting some smokiness. You're getting a nice depth of flavor with the contrast between the citric orange and that deep dark honey, and layer that all together, and you have a lovely experience in your glass. It's really very easy to drink. It isn't very thick. Surprisingly, the teardrops on the glass do take a little bit of time to run down, giving the impression that it's going to be a bit more thick and viscous. But on the palate, being at 40%, it suffers a little bit. It's definitely more on the watery side, but it doesn't detract, right? Now, I would recommend this to anyone who's starting their whiskey journey and wants to jump in without, getting something that's so extreme a flavor profile or so one-sided that it puts them off their whiskey journey. The Highland Park 12 is a great place for virtually anyone to start. I'd be surprised if somebody didn't really like this. It's not too strong that it gives you too much of a kick, that it's not enjoyable. Honey and orange and a little smokiness in a whiskey are pretty desirable flavors, right? Really nicely done. It's not too hefty that it's unapproachable. So it's a fantastic whiskey if you're, as I say, just early in your journey and you're looking for something to whet your palate and get some experience under your belt. The Highland Park 12 is a really good place to start. Let's try on the nose again now and see if there's any different flavors that have developed as the whiskey has opened up in my glass. Still the same aromas, and it's not that I was expecting anything to change, but I like to go back to the nose after trying the whiskey on my palate to see how it affects what I'm picking up. And very much just that nice, rich honey, lovely, juicy orange, and the underlying smokiness. Little touch of oak. It's a really nice whiskey. You can't really fault it, right? So while we've got a little bit more 12-year-old Highland Park in my glass, let's have a second sip and see what it's like on the finish. Lovely. Think about, imagine a whiskey that is liquefied honey and smoke, and someone squeezed a few drops of orange juice in it. That's pretty much what the Highland Park 12 is to me. So if this is what the Vikings used to drink, then it's good enough for Vikings, it's good enough for me. So thank you guys for being here. If you like this one, please make sure to click the like button below and subscribe to the channel for more whiskey tasting and reviews and other whiskey related content. And until then, make sure that you drink and enjoy your whiskey responsibly. Slanjavar.